women. He wants to know who the witnesses are. He wants to know when the incidents occurred. He wants to know all the evidence. And I refuse to provide that to him because T.I. has a reputation of threatening people. He has a reputation of intimidating people. And I promise these women that I will not expose them to that kind of treatment and behavior from him or from anyone he's affiliated or associated with. So the only people that will know the identities of these women are the authorities. That is the best course to take. That way these women are protected from T.I. and his associates.
Okay, the Jasmine brand.
Hi, Ellie Andrews from the Jasmine brand. I was wondering, what are these women seeking when it comes to them planning to sue?
What they're seeking is justice. That's all they've been seeking this entire time, justice. These women have never put forth a request for money. They've never asked for money. Again, like I said just now, a few seconds ago, Steve Sadow, maybe he misspoke. Maybe he misspoke to the New York Times, because I'll tell you right now, I didn't ask him for $1. And from what I got from the conversations that we had and from the emails, they were very, very interested in killing this story and killing these claims. They didn't want this to get out. And, you know, if T.I. and Tiny did nothing wrong, then they should have nothing to worry about. They should want the investigation to go through. They should want the women's stories to be investigated. They should want the authorities to speak to their witnesses, to corroborate and to see if their stories are corroborated. And if nothing happened, then they have nothing to be worried about.
And when it comes to Shekinah, what are you guys seeking from her?
Well, Shekinah defamed Sabrina Peterson's character. And then 3 days later, she attempted to apologize for it. Not even apologize, but she attempted to walk it back 3 days after. But that's, you know, too little, too late. At the end of the day, you cannot come out saying that someone engaged in sex acts, engaged in sex trafficking, engaged in all these different things when you have zero facts to back that up and you know that you're lying. And that's exactly what she did. She wanted hits, she wanted Facebook likes, she wanted Instagram likes, and she got that. So now she got a lawsuit as well.
And just to confirm, none of these women consented to the sexual acts that were against them.
You can't consent if you're if you were drugged.
Okay.
You cannot consent if someone put Molly into a drink. And I think the drink of choice for a lot of them, from what they told me, was Sprite. He had a kind of Sprite, and you've been telling them to drink out of this kind of Sprite. You cannot consent if someone, in the case of Jane Doe 2, which happened in LA, you cannot consent if Tiny spikes Patron and hands you a Patron and tells you to sip this, and then all of a sudden you lose control of your decision-making skills.
And I'm sorry, last question. Moving forward, what does this case look like?
For me, I want this case to be criminally investigated. I want it to be investigated in LA for Jane Doe 2. I want it to be investigated in Georgia for Jane Doe 1 through and Jane Doe's 3 through 6. And I want the prosecutors to do what they do. If they think that criminal charges should be filed against Ti&Tiny, then that's what needs to happen. And I want all women who have been affected and impacted by Ti&Tiny to come forward. You do not have to worry about having your identities disclosed. I will not do that. You do not have to worry about having your witnesses' identities disclosed. I will not do that. Come forward, tell your story. It will be provided to the authorities and have them do the investigation.
Thank you so much.
From AJC.
Hey, Tyrone, it's Stephen Deere from the AJC.
How are you, Stephen?
Good, and yourself?
I'm tired.
Hey, how many, or what were all the jurisdictions that you referred these matters to for investigation? And do you have any concerns about the publicity that you're generating right now, harming or interfering with any investigation that the authorities might launch?
No, I don't. Which is why I did it the way that I did. I didn't identify who the women, who any of these victims are, or survivors, I should say. I don't want to use the word victims. I did not identify who any of these survivors are. I did that, one, to protect them from Ti&Tiny and their associates, and also to preserve the investigations, and to preserve the integrity of the investigations. I also did not provide any of the witness identifications or any of the evidence that I have to substantiate any of the women's stories. And the jurisdictions, again, it's Los Angeles District Attorney's Office. I sent a letter over to them. I sent it over to the U.S. Attorney's Office, in particular for the trafficking and the trafficking claim. The sex trafficking claim, as well as to the Georgia State AG's office, and they can pass it on to whichever prosecutorial offices within the city of Atlanta if they want to. I know that the federal claims have a statute of limitations for 10 years, and I believe that some of the women still falls within the statute of limitations. I know that the claim for Georgia's state charge, for the rape charge, it's 15 years. And I know that at least 5 of the women fall within that statute of limitation. And, well, 4 of the women fall within that statute of limitation. I know that the one for California, I believe that her rape charge still falls within California statute of limitations as well.
I'm sorry, one follow-up question. Did you refer anything to the Fulton County District Attorney's Office?
I chose not to. And the reason why I chose not to refer to the Fulton County District Attorney's Office is because I lack confidence in the local authorities, and this for good reason. There was a young man who was 8 years old who had a gun put to his head by T.I. His mother called the police. His mother had, this incident occurred at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. His mother called the police. His mother was 7 months pregnant at the time. His mother went into premature labor as a result of this. T.I. put a gun to the 8-year-old kid's head, to a 6-year-old kid's head, and to a 4-year-old kid's head because he had 2 little brothers with him. He's now in his 20s. I spoke with him, and I submitted a FOIA request, and I got a copy of the police report. There is nothing in the police report that indicates what occurred on that day, which is very troubling to me. The police report literally says that this was a breaking and entering, a kidnapping, and I believe it's mentioned the battery. No evidence, no investigation occurred, no detail of the accounts, nothing. This kid who is now in his 20s can remember down to the cereal he was eating at the time. Yet and I'm sorry for raising my voice because this upsets me. Yet the cab count, 0 record of his account in this statement, and no kind of investigation was conducted. So I have 0 faith in the local authorities doing the right thing. I don't know what T.I.'s relationship is with them, but it seems that something is fishy is going on, and I really want the federal investigators to take a hold of this case. And if the state can do it, I'll prefer the state speak to the witnesses and to do the investigation that way.
Just one other thing. Do you anticipate bringing civil action as a result of these matters? And if so, what would some of the claims be? And when do you anticipate filing a civil suit, if that's what you intend to do?
Well, right now I'm just focusing on the criminal investigation. My primary focus is to get these women justice. That's it. If we're going to file a civil suit, we will cross that bridge when we get there. But at this point in time, my only focus is getting these women justice, making sure that Ti&Tiny and their associates are held accountable for the reign of terror that they visited upon these women. You know, these women have suffered immensely throughout the years. The girl that was Jane Doe 1 was in the top 10% of her class, her senior class, when she interned for them. Scholar students, graduates from high school, goes to college and drops out her sophomore year. That makes absolutely no sense. She was addicted to drugs as a result of this as well. Fought hard to get her life back. Is in therapy and is continuing to go to therapy right now. Okay? Jane Doe 2 was suicidal as a result of this. Okay? Jane Doe 6 was suicidal as a result of this. Jane Doe 4 was required to go through intense therapy as a result of this. I mean, I can honestly just go. I don't want to go too deeply into this because again, I don't want to hinder or hamper any investigations that's forthcoming. But I'll tell you this: this is about justice. This is not about dollars. This is about making sure that these women get what they've been longing for so long. This is about getting them what they thought they would not have gotten, but for Sabrina Peterson coming forward and making the claims noticed.
Jennifer has a question from AJC.
Hello there. Thank you for speaking with us. I know you mentioned you're not going into great detail, but I wondered if you could speak in general terms about the nature of the evidence that you have, given that many of these cases do date back a number of years. Do you have evidence that you could forward to investigators beyond the accounts of the survivors? Any physical evidence or just what are you going to be forwarding to them to aid in the investigation?
I think the New York Times article spelled it out pretty well because the Times are very, very thorough with their investigation, and they saw a lot of the evidence that we have, and they spoke to the witnesses. So I'm going to leave it there. I think the Times mentioned the type of evidence that they was privy to, and I'm just going to leave it at the Times and wait for the investigation to start and provide them with whatever else that we have.
Well, and respectfully, as journalists, we all like to do the best we can with our own investigation, and so rather than cite another colleague's report, we'd appreciate if we're able to say, this is the evidence we're told is out there.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? For now, I would prefer to just have the investigators take it from here, and at the appropriate time, whenever they choose to disclose the evidence that the women have, they'll do so. But I'm not willing to share anything additional. And plus, honestly, there's more evidence that the Times did not see, which again, I would want the investigators to take their time with. I don't want in any way to skew the investigation. I just want this to go to take the right course. I've been very, very measured with what I have done so far, and that's it. So.
Yeah, I just was looking at the Times account. They mentioned 11 survivors. You talked about 6. I mean, is 11 accurate?
Yeah. So there are 8 women and survivors who are alleging a myriad of sexual assault allegations against either Ti or Tiny or one of their associates. The other 3 that is reported there is the young man that I mentioned that was 8 years old, his mother, as well as Sabrina Peterson.
Hey, Tyrone, sorry if I missed it. I've been going back and forth doing other things. But do you plan to bring on charges?
Criminal charges? Well, that's up to the prosecutors.
So have you started the process, though? I mean.
Yes, of course. Yes, I've sent out letters requesting, providing the detailed summaries, a little bit more detailed than I provided you, to 5 prosecutor offices. So again, like I said earlier, the U.S. Attorney's offices for the Northern District of Georgia, Central District of California, the Georgia State AG's office, the California State AG's office, as well as the Los Angeles District Attorney's office.
Okay. And with Atlanta, did they give you any indication that they would be moving forward with some charges?
Well, that's the thing. I don't want to confirm or deny that I've been speaking to any of the investigators. Again, I do not want to hamper the investigation at all. I just want them to do their work, and that's it.
If I can ask a follow-up question regarding the jurisdictions that you indicated that you've contacted the Georgia AG's office, but not local authorities. You mentioned an incident that happened in DeKalb County that you were not satisfied with, but I wondered if you had contacted the Atlanta Police Department and if the fact that there's a new Fulton County District Attorney weighs in your decision at all, whether to consider working with their investigators directly as well.
Yes. I mean, listen, so I have not contacted the Atlanta PD, but I will be more than happy to speak to the new district attorney for Fulton County. I'll be more than happy to reach out to their office, or they can reach out to me, and I'll put them in front of the survivors, and they can take their accounts and start their investigations.
Have any of the survivors or accusers attempted to settle or have a settlement financially or?
Yeah, no. Yes, I'm sorry, Chuck. No, I'm sorry for cutting you off. So the answer is no. The women that I'm representing have not made any financial settlement demands because the demands would have came through me. And again, like I said earlier, Steve Sadow reached out to me. I did not reach out to him. Steve Sadow reached out to me looking to make a deal on behalf of Ti&Tiny. And I told Steve Sadow that my clients want justice. So the deal involves Tiny and Ti turning themselves in and admitting to the crime that they've committed, then fine, we got a deal. But if it does not, then I would prefer to have the investigators do their work and to bring criminal charges against Tiny and Ti for what they've done throughout the years. And at that point in time, we will assess whether or not we will be bringing any civil charges. But first things first, there needs to be a criminal investigation.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Anybody else? Everybody's so quiet.
I had edited all this out. That's all the questions that we have.
I'm sorry, Darren, but one other thing. When did this conversation with Steve Sadow take place?
This has been ongoing. I believe he may have reached out to me a few days after Sabrina Peterson first posted my contact information to her Instagram page. So this has been this conversation. The last email that I received from him, I believe, was February 11th, and that was before I sent him over the notification that I made these criminal referrals, which I believe occurred on Friday.
And when you told him that the deal would include Ti and Tiny turning themselves into the authorities. Was that something that happened over email, or was that a verbal conversation?
No, it was. I spoke to him on the phone, and I just said to him, I said he wants to know whether or not a deal can be made, and I said to him, well, these women want justice, and he wanted to know the names. He was insistent on learning who the individuals were and what evidence that they had, and he wanted to know who their witnesses were. And I said to him, made it very clear, I will not be exposing these women to you or to your clients. The only people that will know their names will be the investigators, because your client has a reputation of intimidation. Your client has a reputation, I should say, of committing violent acts. And he's threatened some of these women in real time when the incidents occurred. And he's had his staff or his colleagues threaten them. So why would I provide you with their identity so you can intimidate them now again?
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. And Ellie Andrews from the Jasmine brand again. And just to be clear, Ti&Tiny nor Shekinah has responded to you guys actually pressing charges, right?
Well, so okay. I think you. So Shekinah, Ti, and Tiny's case is being filed in California today. And it's for defamation, and it's being filed on behalf of Sabrina Peterson. They have not said anything about it. Steve has said nothing to me about it. I made a request on behalf of Sabrina Peterson for an apology, from a public apology from Tiny and Ti, and that was it. Shekinah, he represented that he does not represent Shekinah, and that he's not, advocating on her behalf. So they will be served, and they will have an opportunity to respond to the lawsuits, and they can, put forth their defenses. But, everything that they've said is in public, so I'm not sure what they're going to say, but we'll see.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, if we don't have any other questions, I think we could wrap this up.